Hi everyone. Tonight I'm interviewing the one and the only Mr. David Pretty. How are you, David?
I'm very well, thank you, Bradley. Yourself?
Very well, thanks. Thanks for joining us tonight, mate. I guess the first thing that crosses everyone's mind when we're in a pandemic like this is what have you been up to while there's been no basketball?
Yeah, it's definitely a different time in the world. Something that no one's probably ever experienced. So trying to find things to do is probably it's probably been the key thing. But I've been very fortunate enough still to be able to be back at work or still at work a couple of days a week, and that's flexible, so I can spend a couple of days there, and I can also then spend a couple of days at home. It's been quite full on, surprisingly, even with the venue shut. It's actually quite busy for things to do inside. There's so many. It's like being at home. There's so much maintenance to do. So I've got a list for work about a mile long, which probably will take another few months. But only being there 2 days a week, it's going to keep me busy for a while. And then on the home front, I've actually been able to get some stuff done at home. I've actually been able to get all my gutters done, my gardens done, all the things that I probably wouldn't have done or made an excuse to say I didn't have enough time. Because as you know, I've got great time skills, and so I've been able to have plenty of time to catch up on the important things.
That's really good, mate. And I can tell you I've been doing a lot of the same things around the house too, stuff that I didn't want to do. So at least we've got something in common there. I guess the first thing is I wanted to ask you about is you've been an assistant supervisor now for a couple of years with us. Could you tell us about your journey to becoming a leader at VBRA Knox branch?
So I've been refereeing for nearly 30 years now. So it's and if people don't know, I started at Dandenong. I refereed the first 15 years at Dandenong, and then come across to Knox, I think in around 2005, just on a 1 day a week basis, and then moved into I think full time or being a member of VBRA Knox. I think in 2006 or 2007, it was one or the other. And my journey going up from Knox started there. I was already on the panels anyway when I arrived at Knox, so it was probably just filling in or going into a new environment. I'd had enough. I'd had enough at Dandenong, and I just wanted to go into somewhere new. And then try and assist. And as you would have known, that's where I met you on the Sundays when was doing that 1 day a week. And hopefully, you've bought new shoes by now, and it's just been a progression. It's been a progression through there, just to just referee every day or the sessions when required, and then just help some kids out and stuff like that. So it's pretty much I came to Knox already established, so to speak. So it was probably just continuing on just the work, just to help and to be able to put my help out in other areas when I could and when I felt comfortable, when I understood the system at Knox at the time, because I'd come from a place which everyone was a lot older, coming to a place where everyone was younger. So that was a good dynamic too, because I actually found it to be easier, because it was easier to deal with people because everyone was new, and it wasn't as you were trying to teach old dogs new tricks. You actually could to help kids that actually wanted to learn. So that was my progression. And then as I refereed more and more, and I had a lot more time up my sleeve from work, I did more sessions, and then I decided to put my hand into the supervisor side. I did spend 2 years on the committee, and then unfortunately there was didn't have enough time to do a lot of that. But no, I've decided to help out with the supervising side of it, and have enjoyed it.
Fantastic. That's really good. Obviously, everyone has their own unique journey, so thanks for sharing that. I guess the next thing would be, what's been your biggest achievement as a referee, or a referee coach? Because you've been actively involved in the national junior championships scene, and also had a very well done career as a Seabull referee as well.
Yeah, well, let's hope maybe the Seabull career is not done yet, or the NBL one, as we're technically called now, career is not done yet. But we'll see what happens there. I'll keep that one quiet at the moment and let everyone guess to see what happens with the rest of my career and that side of it. But look, greatest achievement, there isn't one actually, like one specific one. And I was thinking about this one, is that it's more the journey of the entire Seabull career than just one thing. You know, it's when you work so hard to actually get onto that league, then it's your first men's game, or your first women's game, then your first men's game, then your first game interstate, then your first finals game, then your first, I think it's just the combination of all those games, and then your first, conference final, and then the grand final in 2018. But it's all of those things together that actually makes up that career achievement. It's those small goals along the way. Yes, the outcome at the end was great, but it's all those other things along the way as well. Like doing a conference final in Mount Gambier in front of 800 or 900 screaming people was probably one of the highlights because it was so loud. But it's those achievements along the way. If I had to pick out any specific game, it probably would be, I did a game in 2006 at Knox, and it was Knox versus Great Britain. It was the year of the Commonwealth Games, and they played a game there. Yeah. And I refereed that with Ian Knight, and I remember rocking up to the venue at 5 o'clock. I had the women's game, and the queue to get into the stadium was nearly out onto Park Crescent.
Yeah.
So, and there was about 3,500 there, and it went into overtime. So that's probably the single game that's the best one that I've probably ever done. Just quickly on the ref coaching career, yes, I've now moved into doing that, and I did NBL 1 last season as a ref coach. I was put on the WNBL ref coach panel this year, didn't do a game, but yeah, heavily involved with national junior championships, and been very lucky to being able to go to Perth and Sunshine Coast as a ref coach. And so that's the next part of the career, to do some of that, to actually now give back to what I was given over the time. And I think that's important because, people there will help you, and it's now your turn to give back to the system.
Yeah.
So that's actually going pretty well at the moment.
Very good. Thanks for sharing that. The next thing I wanted to ask you is, being a supervisor has its challenges, but what's one thing that has been your biggest challenge stepping in and being a supervisor at Knox?
I think a lot of the challenges is I don't know many people. It's getting better, and that was probably one of the main reasons of getting back to Knox a little bit more, is that I'd go into Knox and people would only know me from a post on a Facebook page, or someone would mention my name in passing with something. But I'd walk in and I wouldn't know 3/4 of the faces. I walk in on a Saturday morning to supervise, and I've got to ask everyone's name. And I think that's the greatest challenge of, they don't know me, I don't know them. So how do I now communicate with them and for them to have confidence in me to talk to them? So I think that's probably one of the bigger ones, that I've now been there longer, and hopefully showing my face there, it'll actually be a lot easier. But I found that to be a very challenging thing at once. I did a lot of Facebook looking to get names to faces and faces to names to make sure that I sounded like that I knew people. So it wouldn't be as awkward as me going, "Hi, who are you?"
Yeah. No, building relationships is obviously really important as a supervisor. So I certainly agree with you. What's a goal for David going forward as either a supervisor or a referee? You said before that 2018 Seabull Grand Final might not have been your last one, even though that some people refer to as David Briddy's retirement game.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite funny you say that. Before that game, Daniel Batty said to me, "As this is your retirement game." So yeah, he got in early, but no, it wasn't my retirement game. There's a few things that have occurred since then why I can't, or why I haven't been able to referee, or not been allowed to referee. It's probably a better term to use. But I think at the moment, all for me is just to get, well, for me personally, refereeing side is to get my fitness back, and then decide what I'm going to do, moving forward from that. There's these lovely 1,000 steps at Berwick now that are there that have my presence nearly every day, and oh look, from that point of view, we'll just see what happens. From the referee coaching side of it, that will progress through nicely. And then as a supervisor at Knox, I will just be just trying to meet new people, or meet more people, and know more people's names, and being able to assist a little bit more. I don't get down there often enough, and I probably like to get down there a tad more to help out. But that's probably where I'm going. I don't really have too many future plans. I normally just see day by day as it comes along.
No, very good. Thanks for sharing that. The next thing is you spoke about wanting to help others, and just talk about when you give someone advice and you see them implement it on the court, or they tackle things in a certain way after a discussion you've had with them. What's that feeling like for you as a referee, mentor, and leader?
Yeah, really good. That's a good one, because I've probably done a lot more mentoring of referees in the last 4 or 5 years. I've taken on, I've done some general advice to referees, but I've also taken on some specific projects at Knox. I've probably had 10 referees over the time to actually, not one-on-one mentor, but a bit more individualised. And at the moment, I'm looking at 2, and there's 2 others that I'm kind of assisting. And I think for me, what it is, and I said this at the camp, was watching those people get rewarded for their refereeing, as in someone getting to a national championships, or someone getting a grand final, and knowing that I've had a small little part in helping them to get to that. And I won't make any examples. I don't want to single anyone out, but I've, being able to go, oh, yeah, that person got to nationals this year. That person got to nationals last year. Oh, yeah, I've helped mentor them, or I've helped look after them, or someone who was a B grade referee that was struggling along but wanted to get their A grade, and going to help them, and then all of a sudden they get their A grade, and it's like I had some assistance, or I helped contribute to that, yep. Which actually helped, which then says to me, it makes me feel good because I've actually helped them to get to that next level. Yep, it's up to them to take it wherever they want, but I was able to assist them, and actually makes me feel good because I've had a positive influence on their refereeing.
Yeah, fantastic. I think we've seen that with some of those people that you have worked with. Before I do let you go, it'd be a bit rude of me not to mention the famous day out at Sandringham where the centre line jumped up and tripped you over. Would you care to share that one? Because that one makes the social media rounds every year.
Okay, yeah, I was very happy to provide everyone with their Easter present with that video. Whoever published that, yet again, thank you. If you looked at it closely, see, I'm not sure if you've got the real take. If you looked at it closely, didn't you see the girl hit me down the centre and I took the charge? I'm sure that's what happened. Well, I'm sure I took the charge. I was in defensive position and the girl knocked me over.
I think you may have gotten away with it, except you had a partner that was able to cut that up and circulate that within the VBRA Knox branch community.
Yeah, and my partner didn't even help me up. Didn't even come over and ask me if I was all right. I remember who partnered me that night. Oh, that's right. That was you, Bradley.
I was too busy laughing. It was one of the funniest things I've seen on a basketball court.
I'm sure it was a charging foul.
And I must say, the court announcer now, his name remisses me here, but he just had that little touch of gold on the end of it when you had to stop the play and check that your shoes were okay.
Yeah, well, I had to make it look half decent. And hey, if you watch the end of the video, I gave him the thumbs up to tell it. I gave him his kudos for the comment he made.
Yeah.
If you watch the video to the end.
Very good. I guess just in finishing, Dave, is there a specific message that you would like to give the members at this time? Obviously, we're all in this unique situation. So have you got some words for them?
Yeah, I think you just got to do the right thing and stay at home. That's your bottom line is stay at home. Too many young people think that they're invincible and that they can just go out. I think everyone just needs to listen to what the government are telling you, and everyone just needs to just stay at home. Yes, if you have to go out for specific purposes, but I just think everyone just needs to stay at home and listen to what the government's telling them. And yes, it's unique times, but it's very similar to, well, we don't know what these times are like, but our grandparents back in the early days with the wars and that understand what these times are about because that's what they went through.
Yeah.
So for an older person, they actually understand what this is about, where because it's unique for younger people, we actually don't know how to deal with this. So everyone just needs to understand that you just need to deal with it, get it right, and fixing it now, things will be better later. Where if everyone just breaks all the rules, well, there'll be no basketball in 2020.
Yeah, you're probably right there. Well, thanks very much for joining us tonight, Dave, and we look forward to catching up when basketball is back up and running.
No worries. Thanks, Brad.
Cheers, mate.